There it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Inside the IFL. This is episode 50, Edward.
Sweet. 50.
Indeed. Games begin today. Season 2 is here. It is the day everybody's been waiting for. We thought we ran into an issue, but we've been blessed by the sim gods, and everything is a go. We're going to be ready to rock and roll. So everybody that's listening now, I won't say right after this podcast ends, but pretty much right after this podcast ends, a game will be going live. So I never really 100% confirmed a schedule because we were going to go on a whim and figure things out kind of at the last minute based on voting and other things. We plan on trying to adjust that next week so everybody knows what game is being aired when, at what time, and what day. So guys can adjust their schedule accordingly. So pick them next week when it goes up. Vote when it goes for the game of the week. Vote because I want to announce which game's being aired when, pretty much the same day playbooks are due. That's my plan. So, sound good to you?
Cool. Sounds good to me. Yes.
Do be aware, several games this week, like is going to happen every week, are going to be on a tape. So we're going to drop them either on Rabbit or and Chill. So guys have them. I'm not exactly sure where I want to go with those games just yet. I'm really familiar with N Chill. I know Rabbit's probably a little better from my understanding, but I haven't had the opportunity to really dive into that, and I don't want to throw games there till I figure it out. So I think guys can understand that. And then we're going to get all this rock and rolling. But the purpose of this show is not really to have a quote-unquote traditional podcast. This was mine and Ed's prediction special. We've given our take numerous times in the last few weeks who we thought was or wasn't going to win certain games this week. But now the games are here. We know the adjustments have been made. We know the playbooks are in. We know what teams look like based on the preseason. Today's the day we make our predictions, and we're going to keep track of our predictions, unlike last season. And then each week when we do this show, we'll make sure everybody's aware of what our record is. And we'll figure out just which one of us is smart or which one of us is stupid, if either. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it goes. And we're going to go back and forth. We're going to go conference to conference. We're just going to pick a game at random from each conference, cover it, and then go to the next one, and basically move it along. So, I mean, it's time, ladies and gentlemen. If you notice, I did a quite small update on the website yesterday where it says it's time. The season is today. We're ready to kick off. So we're going to have 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. Some games will be overlapping other games, just so guys are aware. That's the case that you get when you have 8 games. I'm pretty sure everybody knows how that's going to work. So that being said, Ed, week 1 prediction special.
Let's go.
I'm going to ask you, and you can just give me this answer: Atlantic or Pacific? What do you want to start?
Pacific.
All right, well, Pacific. I'm just going to pick a game at random.
Works for me.
All right. We're going to start with the game everyone thinks is the most interesting, in my opinion. The Denver Yeti at the San Diego Bulldogs.
Yes.
Who do you got in this one?
I've been studying this game. Both teams looking at things over and over. And either way, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. But at this point in time, I'm going to give the slight edge to Denver.
Slight edge to Denver, huh?
You know how much that pains me to say that.
Well, wait, if I say Denver, that's my Sonny that they're playing against, and I'm not going to pick my son. That could very well happen here in a moment. But,
it could.
You know, and guys, we're not going to go into complete full breakdowns. We've done that numerous times in the last week. But just
like the reason I'm taking Denver is just because I feel Chisholm has a little more experience. He knows what he's doing. And, Marcus, I think it's going to take him a week or two to get used to doing everything by himself.
Right.
When you're just a coordinator, that's one thing. But when you're doing everything by yourself,
right,
a bit of time. So.
Right. Checking out the chat room, see who's in there. We got Alex, we got Mighty. So I know there's a couple other guys in there because it's showing me there's more watching, but nobody's talking, which is cool. At least they're there. But yeah, based on your statement, the experience, and I'll make this one statement. When you look at the preseason games, the one thing that stood out to me real quick was Denver's defense looked suspect. That's the thing Mr. Chisholm prides himself in, is having a defense. So as far as I'm concerned, that defense will not be the same defense we saw in the preseason. He'll make sure that gets corrected, because one thing we saw for sure was the offense was there. So if the offense is there, and the thing he prides himself in is defense, and it wasn't quite there, and we know it's going to get there, lets me step back and say, was my prediction in saying the Denver Yeti would be the team out of the Pacific to go to the Victory Bowl look a little bit more smart as opposed to idiotic, considering our community, not one of you members, we have 101 people, human beings that are a member of this league. Not one picked the Denver Yeti to win the division.
Wow.
But I picked them to go to the Victory Bowl.
I'm gonna go off topic here for just a second, just because I got the alert.
Okay.
Again. How in the hell? Somebody's got to explain this to me. Any baseball fans out there that Angels get him, but the Angels got the Japanese star that's wants to bat and pitch. He wants to do it all.
I think it's Shohei Ohtani or some shit like that. His name is.
The Angels got him. The Angels have signed him.
Alrighty.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Excuse me. All righty. Ready to go to the next game there, Dougie?
Yeah. Well, just a quick NFL note. Droppy Cooper is expected to miss the Chiefs game. I mean, Amari Cooper is supposed to miss the Chiefs game. All right, moving on.
Droppy Cooper.
God, I love him, but I've already told you I want to trade him because he dropped too many passes. All right, moving along. So, Ed's picked the Denver Yeti. I'm picking the Denver Yeti. I've said that one before on this particular game. So we're both agreeing with Denver on this one for a little bit of different reasons, but we're both coming to the same conclusion. So, well, now we're going to jump into the Atlantic Division, and we're just going to go and pick the Atlanta Rhinos at the Philadelphia Flight.
I'll let you go first on this one, since I went first for the other one.
Well, here's how I looked at this game. This game was a little tough for me to make a pick on, just for the simple fact of they played in the preseason.
What the hell is that?
What the hell are you yelling about? That was like really wow.
Sorry, I just happened to look at the chat. What the hell?
God. Yeah.
Okay.
They've been happening a lot of podcasts and live shows on YouTube. People doing those spam things right now. So, yeah, we had adults, Kita 18TK post, come find live boobies. So, whatever.
Find live boobies. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt, people are weird.
Yeah. It's like get a damn life. But, hey, you know what? You go spam people's shows like that, you never know how many people are in that show that will use the term horny, and we'll go watch the show, and they're probably making money off that. So,
yeah,
can't fault them for trying.
Nope, can't do that.
But to me, it's like, go get a real job. Put your boobies away. All right.
All righty, now let's go and talk about Atlanta at Philly.
Right. So as I was saying, when I watched that game, I saw because they played last week in the preseason. You got a good inkling of what this game could bring. I have a gut feeling I know what Philadelphia's about, and I think they're going to be what they are. And to quote a famous head coach, they were what we thought they were. May he rest in peace. I feel that way about Philadelphia. I feel they're going to have the here's what we are, here's what we're going to do, now stop it attitude all season. Whereas Atlanta's more of a, what are they going to do? So, considering we're not quite sure what Atlanta's made of, I think Atlanta makes enough adjustments this week to make this game better than last week, even though last week's preseason. But again, preseason means a lot here because it's legit playbooks. You know, it's not using the, so we call it the default playbook. So I got a gut feeling, and I hate to say this, I'm picking Atlanta to make the upset here, just because of the mystery. Plus, if they win, I look smart. No offense there, Mr. Six Killer.
That's too funny.
Where are you leaning towards this one? And I see Mr. Chisholm just showed up. In case he missed it, we did cover Denver's game right from jump, and it pained Ed to pick Denver to beat San Diego, and I agreed.
Oh, it pains me badly.
So, Atlanta and Philadelphia, where are you at?
Another game. You watch the game and you can see it. We know what Philly is. They're going to be what Philly is. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. The whole mystery thing behind Atlanta. You know, how much did they change in their playbook? How much didn't they change in their playbook? And I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to take Atlanta yet. I think I'm going to go with Philly. You know, it's a proven team. They know what they're doing. Until I can see Atlanta consistently show they know what they're doing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Philly because another new team, another new owner, new everything. You know, you got to give them a few weeks to see what they're made of.
Not to offend Atlanta and its faithful and its owner, everything Ed just said is exactly how I feel. I just picked Atlanta for the win, so if they win, I look smart. All right.
There you go.
All right. Going back to the Pacific Conference, we got the Green Bay Grizzlies at the Winnipeg Crusaders. Two teams that combined for 21 points in the preseason, and the higher score was 12. Neither team had much of an offense in the preseason. So do Winnipeg get more than 12? Do the Grizzlies get more than 9? What happens in this particular game?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you look at these teams and you just go, wow.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly believe Green Bay has hurt themselves by going all that defense and not really doing anything for offense.
Right.
So with saying that, I'm going to take Winnipeg.
Right.
I'm going to say Winnipeg because Winnipeg is going to do just enough.
Just enough.
To get the win. And again, we're going to say Green Bay is going to be in trouble.
Could be a fair statement. And I should say, I think it's a fair statement. It's an agreeable statement because I pretty much am going to echo everything you just said. For the simple fact that I think I think Winnipeg's winning this division in the North. I've already pinned that prediction. I think they win the North. I like their build better than anyone else in the division, and I think that's what helps them. So in a game like this where both teams clearly struggled last week, and both teams may struggle making adjustments because they're getting their feet wet as we go.
Exactly.
I think the more powerful offense is the key because here's the thing. Defense wins championships is the statement. In the IFL, the one thing we've learned last season was with no offense, no competition from your team because you will be struggling.
Yep.
We saw like Boston's the biggest example from last season. Studly defense, but didn't have any offense to back it up. That's the fear most of us have with Green Bay. Loaded up on defense at the top, not so much offense in the middle. I mean, they did do more offense in silver than anything, but I'd have went all silver offense if I did what I did at gold, that they did at gold.
Right. And everybody will agree with Boston. They seriously snuck into the playoffs there at the end because, you know, Marcus found something that was making the offense work. But before that offense wasn't that good. And, you know, their defense was keeping them in games, but it wasn't helping them win games.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if your defense is stopping your team, the other team, that's fine. But your offense has got, like you said, you got to be able to score. If you can't score in this league, you can't win.
Right.
And that's a fact. Like I said, we know it. That is a fact.
But, I mean, either way, I think this is going to be an interesting game. This might be one of the more funnest games of the week. So when this one goes, make sure you catch it because I think it's going to be an entertaining one. But we both agree we're going with Winnipeg on this one. So that's 3 games we've covered, and we've made the same pick on 2 of them. So, okay. All right, moving back to the Atlantic Division. We're going to, and this is where it'll be tough for you to quote-unquote make a prediction because of your biasness towards the team as being involved.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But we're going to go Boston Liberty at Tampa Bay Stallions. And all I need to ask you is the Dwainers around?
Yeah, Dwayner's in the other room.
And here's why I ask. Because every single week when we talk about Boston versus or somebody at Boston, there's no way you can pick the other team. Because if you do, you have no business being the co-owner. So Dwayner gets your official pick when it comes to Boston. Dwayner will make the pick. Dwayner's going to make the Boston picks. You can give me your assessment, and then we'll just ask Dwayne who's going to win. And then that's what happens to your record.
Or Tampa Bay Stallions. He said Tampa Bay.
And while we joke about it, I want to say this about Ed's son. He's a little shit. He's a youngin', and you wouldn't think he'd know much. But when he actually wants to get involved and put his mind towards the league, he'll know every single player, know the team builds. The kid's obsessed. So when he makes a prediction, I won't, quote-unquote, make the statement of treat it as gospel because it's a prediction, but you can get a guarantee he didn't just pick the team for the sake of picking. He honestly gave that thought.
Yep, he's
so.
Like I said, you've been on the phone with me, and you've heard us watching games, and he's calling out plays left and right. He said they're doing this, they're doing that, and he's consistent. He knows.
Here's my favorite part. Here's my favorite part about Dwayne. Watching a game, he's calling shit. But when you see a team struggle, and Dwayne sits there and says, if they would just yada yada, they'd do better. And then all of a sudden the AI kicks in, does exactly what Dwayne said, and there they go moving the ball down the field. That's my favorite shit right there.
Oh, there's been a couple of those, huh? We've been on the phone.
So I just find that entertaining. Because he gets so pissed off when the teams are sucking, and he's like, "This should work, and they ain't doing it." And he gets so mad. Turn it off, Dad. I can't watch this no more because he's disgusted by their action.
Oh yeah.
So
he's done that a few times to me.
So he's picking Tampa Bay. So if you want to give some unbiased breakdown, by all means, go for it.
Unbiased breakdown?
Yeah, if you think you can manage that.
I think Boston's going to be in a game. I think we're going to be good. I really do. I think we need to do. The only thing that scares me, and I'm not going to lie, is I know how good my defense is. Mm-hmm. I've proven it. I don't have to worry about that. But it's good enough to stop that tight end because I think he's going to throw a shitload to that tight end. I just do.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out. We're going to find out how good my linebackers are.
Right. And here's the one thing I'm going to say about Boston. Last season, Bo was calling both sides of the ball. They were struggling, and it could have had a lot to do with the build. He brings in Marcus to take over the offense. He continued with the defense. The offense got better. It was not dynamite, but it got better. Did Bo learn enough from them two working together to carry it over to this season so his offense does enough? Because I think that's where Boston wins or loses this game is on its offense. So, and
I agree.
The classic statement we'll make several times when it comes to the new owners of you got to get the experience, this, that, and the other. I'm picking the new owner. In this case, we got two experienced owners. And until Bo Davis shows me he can have an offense, I got to go with Tampa Bay. And I think most people would think that's a fair
understand that. Yep.
Yeah, that one's going to be a good one, regardless. Because I think that's going to be an entertaining battle. So, but okay,
you know me. It's gonna be real rough for me.
Yes, because of the Cleveland appearance.
Because I want Boston to win, right. No doubt about it. But with him looking like Cleveland, I'm going like, oh.
I do want to mention this to everybody. Shortly after this podcast, like I said, we're going to go live. I'm going to start a game. We are going to go live shortly after the podcast. My laptop, like I said, it drains, battery goes, whatever. I did not make it to the store as planned for an extension cord, but I do have extension cords laying around because I wanted to get one of those heavy-duty orange extension cords, but not like the big giant one because I don't need it to go but 10 feet maybe. So I was thinking maybe I'll find like a 12-foot cord. But I have your two classic brown style extension cords. I'm going to plug one into the other, run it to my outlet because I live in a small apartment and we only have so many outlets. And 3 of my outlets in this goddamn apartment do not work. They were never hooked up properly. And it's been like that, they said, for years. And they just never wanted to knock the walls down to fix it. So they asked me when I moved in if it was going to be an issue because they were just going to give me a new apartment. I didn't care at the time because I knew how many outlets I needed. I knew how much I needed to plug in, and I was good. Then there comes along the IFL, and now extra outlet is needed. So I have to run the extension cord from the outlet that works into the kitchen. Because like I said, the kitchen is right here off my living room where I run my games. And yeah. So I'm going to run the cord. Long story short, if I don't get a proper charge of the laptop, there will be a gap between the first game and the second game so I can get the proper charge on the laptop to run the game. If the charge works properly, I'm just going to give a little bit of time between each games before I kick in the second game and run it live. As far as exactly what game is run when and where at what time is undecided because I saw Alex posted who's the first game. Completely undecided at this point, and that's why I said when we opened up the podcast, we're going to make sure next week, based off the game of the week predictions and opinions, we're going to put together a set schedule. Whether the game's aired live or whether the game's recorded, we're going to let everybody know at what day of what time games are going to be run. So, with my work schedule, my schedule is going to vary, but I have a dedication to the league, and if it means less sleep for the benefit of the league, that's what I'm willing to do. So that's where it's going to be because I'm going to try and set up the perfect times to run games. So I want to start games on Friday no later than 4 o'clock, and that's normally when my children get off the bus. So chances are 4 o'clock could become 4:30. But if I work that evening, I got to make sure the games are over with enough time to charge my laptop if needed before I start the second game, before I got to go out the door at about 10 o'clock. So I got to make sure the second game is started no later than 7. So chances are, gentlemen, games are going to be on Fridays on my end, probably around 3 to 4 o'clock start, and the second game is going to be around 7. So just to give you the heads up. And then on Saturday, the games are going to be basically at noon, give or take, maybe 11, maybe 12. But if I work the night before, which happens on some Fridays now, it's going to basically be the same schedule on Fridays. 4 and 7 will be what I try to do on Saturday. So, but if I'm off, you might see a triple header Saturday game and one game on Friday night. That could happen because there is a discussion. If I can get off every Friday night at my job, that will be my goal, barring no computer charging issues. The game of the week would be Friday night by itself. And then the other 3 games would follow on Saturday that I run. And then we'll put the other probably 4 games on a tape delay. So, okay, moving on. I'm going to make sure I throw that stuff out there so guys know what's what since I was getting questions. So we both picked Tampa Bay. I picked Atlanta. You picked Philadelphia. We've both gone with the Crusaders, and we've both gone with the Denver Yeti. So that takes us back now to the Pacific Conference, the Detroit Hawks at the Chicago Assassins. What is your take on this one? Because while you go, when you do the thing, I'm just going to say this. Chicago struggled in the preseason, but to me, they played one of our premier teams, that being the Outlaws. They still put up 17 points, 300 plus yards of offense. I think it was 317. This wasn't a bad showing, but it was a struggle because they're considering they're new, still getting their feet wet, and they took on the champs. But I think losing 34-17, while that's doubled up, it's not too bad when that was your first ever outing. I think Chicago wins this game due to the fact that their high-powered offense is going to be too much, and we're going to beat this till it's dead. That lack of a star corner and a silver and bronze safeties. So, I'm sorry, silver and copper, not silver and bronze. It's silver and copper. So you got a silver, you got a copper, you got a generic and a generic in that secondary. And the Assassins got a gold quarterback, gold wide receiver, gold wide receiver. To me, that's the only thing I got to say as to why I'm picking Chicago.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Until Detroit can prove that they can stop people with them corners consistently, I'm sure everybody's going to pick against them every time.
Right.
Because we all know generics, but I don't know about generics against the gold an entire game. Especially when it's 3 gold players, if it's a gold quarterback throwing to 2 gold wide receivers. I don't know. Detroit, look, I hope they prove me wrong. And I hope we watch that game and they stop everything. And then Alice can get on there and say, I told you. Because he's been saying it. My defense is going to be good. That they're going to do good. He believes without a shadow of a doubt that defense is going to be able to stop people.
Well, I put it this way. If he and Mr. Heath McDaniel, he being Alex, Mr. Heath McDaniel, figured out, you know what? We don't need a star corner. Let's spend money in other places to be tougher in other areas. And they know what they're doing. They're fucking geniuses.
Hell yeah.
So that's the way I look at it.
And we're going to, you got to do the comparison because we've seen with New York last year, they had a gold and a silver wide receiver. And the gold was basically, like I've said, I thought it was the decoy, and the silver lit it up. Well, now you have a gold on each side. And you know how the AI is with the gold wide receivers. They're like, oh. So now you got this AI going, ooh, I got a gold over here. I got a gold over there. And they got, guess what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
what they need is Jack Dar, the linebacker, to really step up. And he played his ass off in the preseason. So they need him
and
to
Alex
ball
just posted there.
all the time.
Alex just posted in the chat. Pass rush is going to be the key.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And like I said, they need Dar.
I won't argue with that.
They need Dar to be on his game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they need James Smith, who's the silver safety, to rule that secondary. And the pass rush, per his statement, that's where Lincoln Fox, who's a defensive tackle at silver, and Barrett Riley Harrison, who's a defensive end at copper, they need to really get it going. Now, see, when I look at this build, and I've beat this till it's dead in the face, Lincoln Fox to me would have been a corner, and I probably would have made a corner out of Eric Cooper, which is the kicker. So I at least had a silver and a copper corner. But again, they got the gold outside linebacker. They got that silver defensive tackle. They got that silver strong safety. Came back with a bronze inside linebacker, the bronze free safety, and the bronze defensive end. If they can make that defense, while on paper looks weak as a whole, in my opinion, and make it work, they were able to spend extra money on the offense in other areas. These guys could come out as complete geniuses, and we could all take a step back at the end of this season going, let me look into this blueprint because I got to steal some of this. Yeah, so I got to give kudos no matter if it's a win or a loss for this team on the season. Detroit gets kudos from me for trying something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way, and I thank them as the owner of this league. I thank them for trying, because owners of this league, coaches of this league, players of this league, we only learn things when someone says, "Let me grab my balls, I'm gonna try it," and they're making themselves the guinea pig, and it benefits everybody in the end. So I thank them for taking a shot. So we're both going with Chicago. So we're going to jump back here to the Atlantic. And there's 2 games left. So we're just going to go with the Dallas Wranglers at the Baltimore Bulls. This game, to me, is the one I'm most excited for out of this conference. Yeah. Because Baltimore, we know most people are picking them to be the team to beat out of this conference. I'm picking Baltimore to win the championship. But Dallas, in the preseason, even though they came up short because they shit the bed defensively while up 37-21 in the fourth quarter over the Cobras, showed all of us they've got a good offense. Both their receivers had over 10 catches. One had over 200 yards. Dallas Whitaker was ridiculous. And New York, even though, and then this is not a shot at Mr. Chisholm because he was technically their defensive coordinator, but it's no secret Taco really wasn't paying attention to him. Their defense was kind of eh. So as far as I'm concerned, that defense last season was a Taco defense. What's going to be a Taco defense this year? This could be, that and then that's why I'm saying that the Dallas put up all these yards and all this offense. Now they're going to have to step their game up against Baltimore, because Mr. Mighty, Mr. Max Paul, he dedicates himself to defense just like Chisholm does. That's their baby. They try their best to make sure it works, and they'll kill themselves doing it, so to speak. So, is Dallas really that good offensively? And the one thing we do know about Baltimore is they're not like New York. They don't try and go out there and high power you. They're methodical. It's a precision machine. They'll be willing to beat you with just 20 points. Where New York wants to put up 50 in a win. So they were held to 17 going into the fourth quarter. So if you can hold a high-powered offense to 17 points going into the fourth quarter, what can you do to a team that, in my opinion, 20 points is all they need to win? It makes this for a tough prediction.
Oh, yeah.
So Dallas, in my opinion, has a very, very good shot at the upset. but I'm taking Baltimore.
Oh. I agree with everything you just said. I think Dallas has a good shot at the upset. But at the same time, like you said, their defense completely fell apart.
Right.
Falls apart against this team, it ain't going to be pretty. Yeah. Because like you said, this team that they're playing is methodical. They're precise. They know exactly what they want to do, how they want to do it. And they pretty much have a game plan.
Right. Now take everything you just said and everything I just said. And I just want to throw this out there. This is why I picked Baltimore, gentlemen, to win the championship. Because last year, these guys were just getting their feet wet, as was the rest of the league. And Arizona just happened to have luck on their shoulders more often than not last year. Because if you go back and look at those 14 games, I think it was 8 or 9 games, they won a game by a possession, which means 6 points or less they won by, which means if a team gets the touchdown and kicks the extra point, they lose. For some reason, they were as lucky gets last year. Now, some people think they were as good gets. I think it was a clear combination of the two. So here's Baltimore, a team that is a machine. They're precision. They're precise. They've got one season under their belts. You going to tell me they haven't figured a lot out going into this season? Because if you do, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, you know they have.
So
you know they have.
That's why I'm picking them to win the whole thing and why I picked them to win this game. All right. Well, then we might as well jump back to the Pacific because we got 3 games to go. And in the Pacific Conference, 2 games to go. So we've got the last 2 games in each conference. That's funny. I saved tacos for last over there, too. All right. We're just going to stick with the Atlantic just for the sake of argument due to the voting. So Nashville Nightmares at the New York Cobras. What you got?
New York.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you pick New York?
Because I think they're going to throw it 645 times.
Is that all?
And it could be more. It could be 700, 800. We never know. But I think they're just going to throw it. They're going to throw it, and they're going to throw it. Already seen it. They can throw it and throw it and throw it, and they're going to score. They're going to score. They're going to score. They're going to score.
Well, let's take a quick look at Nashville. Elijah Meggett, gold free safety. Marshall Flores, silver corner. E.J. McAllister, bronze strong safety. Eric Davis, bronze corner. And then Jamal Golden, which is the copper free safety. Clear indication, nickel and dime packages out of Nashville. If you're going nickel and dime packages, you're going against a pass-heavy team. That's helpful. But do they have, in my opinion, well, in your opinion, do they have enough offense? Because I like the build. The quarterback and the running back are both gold, and both the receivers are silver. So they're clearly not lacking offense. And the build is designed to stop, in my opinion, a passing team. But is this going to come down, in your opinion, the classic case of not just 4,000 passing attempts, but is this experience?
Yep.
So, and I want to give Nashville credit. Ed and I forgot to mention this on the other podcast. If you go back and look at the games in the preseason, not counting a new owner versus a new owner, because clearly a new owner is going to win that game. But we had a couple games where new owners took on teams from last season. Nashville was the only team to get a victory against a team that was in the league last season. Every other new team that played an old team lost. And we forgot to give Nashville their kudos for that and the shout out for that. So I want to make sure we threw that in here today. So, so kudos to Mr. Maurice.
Because you and I, another thing, since you brought that up, we talked about it. The West went undefeated.
Right.
Everybody in the West won. The East, everybody won but Boston.
Right.
So 3-1, which I'm okay with it. I ain't sweating it. But if Boston would have pulled that off, then the two divisions that everybody say is the toughest divisions in the league would have won all our preseason games.
Indeed.
So for Nashville to knock off Boston, that was pretty impressive.
Right. It's a pretty good deal. So, but in this case, you were picking New York to beat Nashville, huh?
Now New York's got a whole other dynamic to them because now they don't have that gold, wide receiver that's going to be the, just throw it here and say, here, he's a gold, go cover, because that's, basically that's what happened.
I talked about that in private, if you will, when he moved the receivers to silver. Will that or will that not affect anything? The one thing I noticed, and I brought this up to you, and you agreed, it definitely didn't favor one receiver over the other, because even Quentin Huff, their third receiver, had a lot of catches in the preseason game. The quarterback, Joel Lewis, which is a gold, is not discriminating. He's throwing the ball to everybody, and everybody's putting up yards. Theo Flood, the silver halfback, had like 4 or 5 catches. So it's more balanced as far as who's catching the ball, whereas last year, Alex Zeli was the focal point of that offense. So to me, defenses have to prepare harder for this particular team. And then they beefed up their defense with that secondary. C.J. Coates at gold corner, Peyton Chisholm at gold strong safety, and then Taco himself is the inside silver linebacker. And,
speaking of C.J. Coates, should I tell the rest of the league what that old man told me?
Yes, you should. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. C.J. Coates paid attention to the league last year, just never got involved on Slack, never gave me his proper email so I can get him on Slack. I officially sent him an invite to get on Slack yesterday. So hopefully his old behind will get on Slack here sooner than later and then introduce himself to y'all because we love him to death. And don't be surprised if he gets in on some of these podcasts here and there. And when he does, buckle up, get your popcorn ready because it'll be a show.
Because I've been informed. Because he called me the other day and says, I just listened to that podcast. I said, okay. He says, a little disappointed. I said, why? You need to talk about my guy more. Matter of fact, he says, you need to talk about my guy every podcast you do. My player should be talked about. I said, okay. Bad thing? And he started laughing. I said, well, in that case, I said, when he does bad, believe me, I'm going to rip into him.
But don't forget.
Says, okay.
But don't forget, the main reason why we're supposed to talk about his player is because King Kong and Godzilla don't have nothing on him, and that's them two combined. So, yeah.
So, I just had to laugh at him.
All right. But just to let everybody know, I'm going to echo Ed's prediction. I'm going to pick New York just because their offense should be more dynamic. We saw it last year until he freaked out. We'll see if he sticks with it this year. Nashville, like Dallas, has a good shot for the victory, though. So, to recap the Atlantic Division, Boston Liberty at the Tampa Bay Stallions. I picked the Stallions. Ed's official Boston picker, Mr. Dwayne, has also picked Tampa Bay. So we've both gone Tampa Bay. Ed's record.
He didn't hesitate with that.
Yes. Ed's record for the Boston games will be reflected by his son's prediction all season. All right. And Dallas at Baltimore, we agreed. Baltimore. Nashville at the Cobras. We both picked the Cobras. The only game we differed in was the Flight and the Rhinos. You took the Flight. I took the Rhinos. And like I said, I took a team just to make myself look smart that I don't think is going to win. I legitimately think the Flight's going to win, but I'm picking the Rhinos so I look smart if it happens.
In case they do something, then you're like, I told you, look.
That's right. So, therefore, when we get to this part of the podcast, no one can bring this up because I'm going to have to do like the FBI do, and I'm going to have to DAC these sections out. All right. Now,
look, it's not in there. I don't hear it. I just see,
3 out of the 4
That's how we're going to play this, aren't we?
Yes. 3 out of the 4 games we agree on. So far, we're 3 for 3 in the Pacific because we've both picked the Crusaders over the Grizzlies. We've both picked the Assassins over the Hawks, and we both have taken the Yeti over the Bulldogs. So it brings us to, per the voting, game of the week. The Arizona Outlaws, the defending champions, go to Tokyo to take on the Kitsune, the only team that has ever beaten them. Go.
I'm taking Tokyo.
Ooh, he's taking Tokyo. Reasons?
I am taking Tokyo. Because there's no way in hell that team Arizona come in to his house and win. Because he's going to prove again why he can beat Arizona.
Uh-huh.
And do it again. And I also think Chico, Mr. Chisholm, if he's still in there, he knows. Chico's not there anymore.
Yeah?
I don't think that running back's going to be as durable as the guy that retired. So I think we're going to have to see Arizona do something they don't like to do, pass a little more. And when they do have to do that, because we already know it, because even you have said it on many podcasts that you don't believe Arizona can pass that well. Their passing offense is kind of shitty. So if they have to pass more because the running back's not getting it done because it's not the same guy, I'm giving an edge to Tokyo.
Okay. Well, that's the fun part about this particular game. Because we're going to look at this game, quote unquote, completely different, kind of, sort of, but yet the same. This is why I am picking Arizona to win, because they run the football. And to me, Tokyo is built to stop the pass. That's how I look at that. That team is built to stop the pass, and Arizona will not pass unless it has to. Just to point out, in the game when Tokyo beat Arizona, Arizona was held to 146 rushing yards and passed for 254. Okay? They outgained Tokyo 400 to 309. And I know people who might be still new to the league and didn't get a chance to watch the games last year. Arizona lost one game, went 13-1 in the regular season. That one loss was in week 6 to Tokyo, 24 to 23 in a game that saw an Arizona kick blocked. That extra point that got blocked. Do you remember this? So, that being stated, that game was also in Tokyo. So, Arizona's undefeated in the United States right now. North America, whatever. And 0-1 overseas. So, the fact that this game is in Tokyo, maybe it's the flight that kills them. What do you think? Is that what it is?
I mean, that's a long flight to Tokyo.
So, I mean, like I said, Arizona's credit, they had more rushing yards by 40. They had more passing yards by 51. They had the ball for over 4.5 more minutes. They did have one more turnover, but the key stat, they had one less point. When your defense
doesn't matter.
Like I said, right. All it takes is 1 point to win a game. Because if you win by 1 or win by 50, it still goes in the win column as a W.
That's right. Still a win.
So for me, when I look at this game, like I said, I think Tokyo is built to stop the pass. I don't see Arizona passing unless they have to. Kit Rambo, the running back, looks sharp. He had the most rushing yards out of everybody last week on the ground in the preseason. Again, it's preseason. Can't take too much stock into that. I just think they're going to run the ball and do what they got to do. And Mr. Chisholm says he's 44 minutes behind us. Okay. So that being stated, for me, I'm picking Arizona for the win. So we have 2 games that we've different this week. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Arizona, Tokyo. But to Tokyo's credit, it's going to be kind of the opposite of the Detroit thing. Detroit went with no corners. Did they learn something? Did Tokyo learn something to where they said, you know what, let's just throw 2 corners out there and we can go man-to-man all day? And maybe that's the key. Go man-to-man with those gold corners and bring everybody else to stop the run. Possibility.
Good.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's the key to stopping this team on the ground. Because they were one of the best on the ground last season. Them in Philadelphia were head and shoulders better than everybody else on the ground. So maybe they figured something out.
Yep.
But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Now, just for the sake of argument there, Ed, I do want to point this out. Because I don't know if this dawned on you at all. The Denver Yeti is the only away team you picked to win this week.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You've picked every home team but the Denver Yeti. I've picked Atlanta to win on the road, Denver to win on the road, and Arizona to win on the road.
There you go.
So I picked 5 home teams. And last year, home teams did fare better than road teams, but our road teams did fare a lot better than most people anticipated. To where home field advantage here in the IFL isn't as strong as we thought it might be, which I like because I think that's how it should be. So, games. Like guys know, I talked to just a moment ago. I was talking to Mr. Davis through Slack while we were here on the air. He took the time to run Atlantic games pretty much already, from my understanding. I'm going to double confirm this with him just to make sure I understood that correctly. But I believe he is now run and is currently uploading whatever he hasn't finished of all the Atlantic Conference games. He's got them all ready and on record, apparently, which means the Pacific games are going to be the ones that are going to be run live. Next week, we'll make sure that 4 games, if recorded, is half and half. So that's where him and I are still getting our feet wet on the season to come up with a good philosophy, what game should be what. Talked to Ed about this, and it's going to happen next week. So, but next week, the 4 games that have the lowest vote for game of the week, those will be the 4 games that get recorded. So
I think it should be like that every week. 4 lowest games should be
right, and that's what I was thinking. That's why I mentioned it now. Instead of going 2-2, I want to do the 4 lowest games on the voting, and I don't think anybody would argue that, regardless of their conference.
Right.
So this way, when the games end tomorrow, all the games will be over tomorrow. I'm hoping before I go to work, I can put up the new pick'em, the new game of the week for week 2. If not, I'll do that pretty much maybe in the morning before I go to bed Sunday. Either way, Sunday for sure, the new voting will be up. Playbooks are due on Tuesday. When I submit the playbooks in the system and send them to Mr. Davis on Wednesday, the moment I send those playbooks to Davis, I will include in a message, these are the 4 games that get recorded, because that's what he wants to do, record games. So those will be the games that get recorded because he likes to record games just for the simple fact of he never knows if something is or isn't going to come up, and he doesn't want to have the pressure of a game on his shoulders to be aired live. But if there happens to be a week where he's 100% ready to air a game live, he will. So instead of the final 4 being recorded, maybe it'll just be 3 or it'll be 2. Again, all varies on his schedule. And guys, listening to this podcast, you can let me know in this chat right now. Send me a message on Slack what you think of this idea. But the plan is to take the 4 lowest games per the game of the week voting, put them on record if games are being recorded. This way, I ain't got to get a hold of, like I said to Davis and say, oh, by the way, which games you're recording. He'll know right from jump. These are the ones to record no matter what. And then it's on me then to run the other 4. Unless there's a week where I need somebody's help, like Mr. Chisholm is willing to help. He's willing to air a game for me today if I need him. There's a possibility I might ask him to do that so games can stay on schedule. What I want to do is rely on myself and then on anyone who's willing to help when I need them. So, yeah. But that sounds good to you, right? Final 4, no matter what.
Yep.
Yes?
Yeah, that sounds real good because that it's showing you this is the community voting, and these are the games they're not really looking forward to. Hate to be like that, but that's basically what it says. But these games are the games they want to see.
Now, here's my only concern with it. I'm not going to name any team because it could be anybody. There could be that one team that always ends up in the bottom, and that would suck.
Unfortunately,
because they don't get to see their games aired live. And I don't want guys saying, okay, I want my game aired live. I'm going to vote for my team because that's where I play. I want you guys to vote honestly. Vote for the game you think has the most appeal. Vote for that game. And I'm okay with this statement. If you go to the game of the week and you realized such and such team versus such and such team is clearly winning the vote and they're going to win the vote, but the games 2, 3, 4 are kind of close, I'm okay with you picking your second choice so you can watch that game live. I'd be okay with that. So it's kind of quote unquote manipulating the voting, but at the same time, I want that to happen to a degree. So we're getting the 4 games aired live that have the most appeal, that have the most interest, might have the most on the line. Right now, every game's equal until we get to at least week 4, 5, 6, maybe. Because a team can start out 0-4 and make the playoffs, right, Boston?
Yes, they did.
So, everything matters. Alex says this makes the voting matter more. That's exactly right.
That's right.
It makes the voting matter. And
maybe with us doing this, we'll get more people voting. More people say, I really want to see this game. I really want, I'm going to vote for it. Or, I don't want to vote. I don't like this game, so I won't vote for that.
Right. So if you go look at the game of the week voting this week, Boston and Tampa Bay had 1 vote. Dallas, Baltimore, 1 vote. Atlanta, Philadelphia, 0 votes. Nashville and New York, 1 vote. Green Bay, Winnipeg, 2 votes. Detroit, Chicago, 1 vote. Denver, San Diego, 2 votes. Arizona, Tokyo, 8 votes. At the end of the day, we're under 20 total votes of a community of over 100. Unacceptable.
I'm going to say, that's what I was going to say. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
So let's get the voting in. Let's get their votes up. Let's get them coming in.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's not, like I said, it's not that hard to go get on that page and go click, 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 and it'd be done.
Right. So, yeah, we're going to just get your voting in. Real simple. And I know some of these owners created their own team channels. If you did and you have guys on your channel, send them the message. Say, hey, guys, make sure you vote.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them vote for you because it's your team. You always want to be live. Because I know for me, if I had a team, owned a team, was a part of a team, of course I want to see my team live. Who doesn't? But for the benefit of the league, I want to be fair.
I can tell you this right now. Yeah. I did not vote for Boston.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I did. I said, oh, hell yeah, this is my team.
Right.
But I did for the rematch between Arizona and Tokyo.
Right. Yeah. I think everybody knew that would end up getting
the should be the third one.
Regardless.
But that's the game I voted for.
All right. Now that leads me to this. Game of the week. This is going to be an undetermined situation until next week. So I'm mentioning it here. I want to get guys' feedback. Game of the week. I had this conversation earlier with Mr. Davis. Had it earlier today with Mr. Ritter. When should the game of the week take place? And here's our options. Early afternoon Friday, which would be the game that's coming up here soon. Later in the evening on Friday night, which would be the latest start of the week because that game could start 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. Or Saturday early afternoon or Saturday mid-evening. So the ideal start times that I have in my head, barring my work schedule, is a 3 to 4 o'clock kickoff and the second game taking place around 7, 8 o'clock in the evening on Fridays. My goal on Saturdays is to have a game started 11, 12 o'clock, barring I didn't work the night before on Saturday, and the second game starting around 4 or 5 o'clock. So does the game of the week deserve that mid-afternoon kickoff on a Friday, that late night kickoff on a Friday, or lunchtime kickoff on Saturday, or the evening time kickoff on Saturday? I know Ed's initial statement was it should be the last game of the week, per like the NFL. The quote unquote so-called game of the week is supposed to be Monday Night Football, which is why it should always be a flex schedule if that's truly what they were doing, which drives me crazy. or or what Mr. Davis had stated, and Ed, when I brought this up to Ed, he 100% agreed. Or do we put the game in the time slot where we think we should get and achieve the most views, which would probably be the late night kickoff on a Friday night? So that's how I look at it. Because I look at it this way. A lot of you guys have jobs. If you're working, say, a first shift job, you might work 9 to 5. That's your first shift. And if I do the Saturday kickoff game of the week at 4 or 5 o'clock, you're not home. Now, I know some guys like me work late second shifts, work third shifts. We're not going to be able to appease to everybody, but most people are working first shift jobs, or stay-at-home dads, or in school. So most people are home in the evenings. So we have to appease to the majority, I guess we should say.
Yep.
So I'm going to check this chat just to see.
What up, Smitty?
Yeah, Schmitty in there. I saw he had a game running live. I think it was Tokyo and London. I'm very biased to the Tokyo Thunderbirds just because Thunderbird is a Native American term. I almost picked them as my team.
I've been trying to watch every game I can because I'm anticipating the draft for next season and see who drafts my defensive end.
Right. Yeah, I want you to get a hold of me, Schmitty, on Slack because I want to talk to you in private over there because to benefit that league, with me running this league, I want to be involved. And if I can't do it, I want to keep the team. But I'm more than willing to relinquish the ownership of the team if I'm willing to have a player in the league. So get a hold of me on my Slack. And we can have that conversation. Alex has posted, we should put the game of the week in the time slot we think would get the most views. Which is pretty much what we were discussing earlier, which is, like I said, I think that time slot is the Friday evening game. I think that's the game, that 7, 8 o'clock kickoff game should get the most views.
Like I said, when we were talking, that would be the time to do that because high school football's over.
Yes.
College football's basically over.
Yes.
NFL's Thursday night and Sunday, so I think we could get more, and it's getting to be winter time now. So, before too long, snow's going to be on the ground. People ain't going to be going nowhere. They're going to want to stay in the house and, hibernate for a little bit. So,
just quickly off topic, Matthew Soper said Toronto Thunderbirds. Did I say something different? I might have said something different. The hell did I say?
You called them Tokyo.
Yeah, I did say Tokyo, didn't I? Fail. God damn you, Ramos. So, yeah, now takes me to my second question. And you and I have not gotten into this. I didn't even get into this with Davis. Davis is in the chat, so I want to see his feedback. The games that are on record. Do we, A, release them on a site like we did last year on nchill.tv? And I put the games that everybody takes their seat in the theater and watches the game there as a group. Or do I just release the links and guys watch them on their own time? Regardless of the answer, when do these games get released? At the same time live games are going on? At the end of the live games? Before the live games? Because I know Davis is probably going to be more on the ball next week because this week's just been a mess for all of us. He's probably going to have everything done and ready before Friday next week. That's my guess because he's pretty much on the ball with that kind of stuff. So do I wake up Friday morning and say, here you go, gentlemen. Here's the 4 links to the 4 games that are on record. Do not discuss these games until after the game of the week on Friday, if that's when we play the game of the week. So we'll just say after the second game on Friday. Keep it off your mouth and off Slack so everybody can enjoy the game on their own time? Or do they get it released at a precise time on Friday/Saturday? So that's my question. For me personally, to save me time, and that's not always the best thing for the league. So I'm going to be honest with my statement. It's a personal opinion. To save me time, I would much rather just release the 4 links to the 4 games and let guys watch them on their time.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Because
honestly,
well, to answer Matthew's question,
when you ask
Matthew just said, "Why can't we use YouTube?" The games are on YouTube, Matt. They're just hidden. The links are private, and then we take the YouTube link and we put it in a site like Chill, so guys can watch it as a group, kind of watching it together live. Because I could say, "Okay, guys, such and such game is kicking off live right now at 1:00," because that was going to be my goal, to be honest, was to release the 4 recorded games at the same time, or 2 of them on Friday and 2 of them on Saturday before the early kicks. That was the goal.
I like that. I like 2 on one day and 2 on the other.
I mean, that's kind of what I was going to do, because if that's what we're going to do, since it's Friday now, that's not going to happen today, because I should have done that earlier, and it's something we've undecided prior to this week, because it's just been a fucking mad mess. Because am I going to have my equipment working? Davis's shit, his equipment just took a shit, but now he's got to figure it out. It's been a mad rush of getting things together out of nowhere, which kind of sucked. We need to be better organized, but we're still getting our feet wet as a group running this league.
Should you go ahead and upload it to YouTube, or should you go to Chill?
Right. So if we want to go with the Chill route,
I like Chill because, like you said, we can go in as a group.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't like it because you can't get it on your phone.
Right.
I like just going to YouTube and getting right on my phone, because that's what most of my stuff anymore I do right on my phone.
Right.
The only time I ever get this computer out anymore, because we all know my computer's a piece of shit, is for podcasts. That's about it. Other than that, I'm doing everything on my phone.
My favorite thing about the Chill is we drop the link in there, and I say, "Okay, game's starting now on Chill." Everybody goes in, has a seat, and then they can actually communicate with each other as the game's airing, and everybody's at the same point in the game, so you can communicate about the games that are on record. That's my favorite part about it.
Yes.
But yeah. Like Davis just said, we can use Rabbit. Yes, Rabbit's the other option. It's something I got to dive into because I haven't had the opportunity to do it. If we use Rabbit, it won't be till next week because I'm going to take this week to study it. So if we go with the Eric on something, it's going to be Chill this week.
Can you get Rabbit on your phone? Because a lot of people I know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in this league, do everything on their phone.
I think Rabbit has that option. I think that's why Davis likes that.
Well, if that's a fact, maybe we do that, because then we can go right on our phones. If people want to on their phones.
Davis is our go-to guy when it comes to Rabbit and Discord. I'm looking now. Yes, there is an app called Rabbit Watch Together. It is an app.
Cool.
So Rabbit has.
Maybe we want to look into that.
So yeah, let's put it this way: if we go with the record it, air it somewhere, it's definitely got to be Rabbit, which wouldn't be till next week though, because like I said, I got to dive into it, look at it, figure it out, so I know what I'm doing on my
which we
end.
can just upload them to YouTube if you want. Then the
So
guys can watch them on there.
Why don't we go with this assumption then? Why don't we do this week? I'll release the 4 games that are uploaded to YouTube at whatever day, time that we do this. So what I might do is release them today, tonight, tomorrow, whatever it's going to be. And it'll just be the links on YouTube. Guys, watch it on your time. Don't discuss the game until the late game is over that day. So if I release all the links today, no one talks about those 4 recorded games until after the game tonight. If I release it tomorrow, no one talks about the 4 recorded games until the second game's over again on Saturday. I think that's simple and easy to follow. Then next week, myself, even you, Ed, Davis, Mr. Chisholm, because I'd like to make Mark, honestly, a permanent part of our staff because I really like his thoughts. I'd like to do the same with guys like Ramos, and there's people I want to get involved, become legitimate members of this staff, be highly involved. Somebody could then take the links if I can't. We'll plug them onto Rabbit, and then you guys can watch it on your phones. If, like I said, we got a Rabbit app, that has to be the choice. And Chill is not an option because they don't have the app. It just can't happen.
Right.
So we either make sure Rabbit's going to work and we run with Rabbit, or we just do the link droppage. This week it'll just be a link droppage to make life easier for everybody.
Right.
So now I know me personally, I'm going out my door here in about 15 minutes to get my children off the bus. Then I'm going to bring them inside, get them situated, get them ready to go with homework if they have anything and what have you. I know there's a possibility I have to run to my wife's job. I may be leaving the house during the first game of the season, smack myself in the dick. Now, yeah, I said that. So if that's the case, I might start this game a little later than planned, so it's still running by the time I leave my house, get to her job, and come home. So that means the game's going to start 4:30, 5 o'clock-ish, probably more 4:30-ish because I would be leaving here at 5. Actually, no, I'll be leaving here at 4:45 because I got to get to my wife's job by 5 if that's what I'm doing. So I can tell you guys now the kickoff will start at 4:30. And it's going to be a Pacific game. So I'm just going to pick that game right now by having Ed help me. I'm going to number these damn games 1, 2, 3, 4, 70, 80, 30. So we know Arizona at Tokyo will be tonight's game. That game will kick off tonight. And as far as exactly what time that is, like I said, depends on the charge of my laptop. But it could be later than planned because if I can't keep my charge, which, God, that's going to fucking suck. I really need to get a better cord. All right. So, and I'm numbering the other 3 games right now.
Davis cracks me up. He says, so like I said, Rabbit Discord are apps we should be going to. Like right now.
Like right now, yeah. Well, like I told Davis, I'm going to really get involved with the Discord conversation with the community this season. I really don't want to start the season, then up and move everything somewhere. So if the community as a whole wants to go with the Discord option, I'm okay with it. But I'm going to make it a slow move over and basically use Slack for this season and then start moving everything over slowly. This way I ain't got to rush. I want to be able to go over there, create channels, whatever it is you do, because I don't know shit about it. I want to get my feet with it, learn it, figure it out, get everything created, set up, started. Then it's the process of re-inviting everybody to the new site.
Right.
And I already know we quote-unquote have a community of 101, and to me that's false because we really don't, because a lot of guys aren't here anymore. You know, some communities say they have 40, 50 members in this league, and that's not just sim sports. I'm talking whatever it is they do. Like you and I used to EFED. People had pro boards with 1,000 members, but they only had 20 active people.
No.
You know,
right.
We'll learn just exactly how many people are active. I know that. You know, but I'm dreading the whole move because that's going to be a lot of work, and I really don't want to do that. But if it's the benefit of the league later, I want to do that. So, but that's the least of my worries right now. All right, I got these 3 games numbered. 1, 2, 3. And what we're going to do is pretty much going to announce the schedule for today and tomorrow. It's just a matter of exactly which times. So we know the late kick tonight is going to be Tokyo and Arizona. They're playing tonight. Which game will take place right now? Well, I shouldn't say right now, but within the hour. And what 2 games are tomorrow. So, Mr. Ritter, I ask you to pick 1, 2, or 3.
2.
Ladies and gentlemen, shortly after I return home with my children from the bus stop, 4:30 is the goal. We will witness the Detroit Hawks at the Chicago Assassins. So that game will be the early kick today. Tonight will be Arizona at Tokyo. All right. Now 1 or 3?
Go 3.
Okay. Tomorrow's early kick will be the Green Bay Grizzlies at the Winnipeg Crusaders. And the late game tomorrow will be the Denver Yeti at the San Diego Bulldogs.
Nice.
So I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. So, because I know me, I'll have a freaking brain fart. Okay, so if I'm doing a 4:30 kick, I might do an 8:30 kick for the second game. This way there's a 4-hour gap between the two games. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now tomorrow, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock kick. 12 o'clock tomorrow, we will see Green Bay at Winnipeg. And then at 4 o'clock tomorrow, we will see Detroit and San Diego, or Denver rather, at San Diego. So there's your schedule, ladies and gentlemen, for the Pacific games. 4:30 today, Detroit at Chicago. At 8:30 today, Arizona at Tokyo. Saturday at 12, Green Bay at Winnipeg. At 4 o'clock Saturday, Denver at San Diego. Now, leaves us one final piece of business. When do we release these 4 games on YouTube?
Damn good question.
Because honestly, it'll either be released now, guys can go watch them for an hour. Do we wait? Do we release them after tonight's game and then guys can go watch them? Do I release them before tomorrow's 12 o'clock kick? Do I release them after the 4 o'clock game is over? We got a bunch of guys in the community right now. Fire me your opinions real quick. So we got like 6, 7, 8, 10 guys in there right now. My thing's showing 9 watching right now, and I know that varies on everybody's system, which is hilarious. YouTube, you never know. So when guys want games to be released is the question. We're waiting for opinion. Do you have an opinion yet?
Me, sooner the better.
Right.
I just want to watch football, damn it.
Right. So, again, those games that are going to be on record is Atlanta at Philadelphia, Nashville, New York, Boston at Tampa Bay, and Dallas at Baltimore. So those 4 games are going to be on record. Next week, the 4 lowest voters in the game of the week are going to be the 4 put on record. The other 4 are going to be run live with the concept we just did now. And I do like these times. I'm going to stick with these times, barring my work schedule. So Friday games will be Friday games will be 4:30 and 8:30. Saturday games will be noon and 4. I like that as barring my schedule and making sure I have the charge. What do you think?
Yep.
And then starting next week, we'll air the 4 early games. Like I said, if we just use Rabbit, I'm going to drop all 4 games at the same time on Rabbit. And guys, you can just go watch the game you want, which kind of sucks, but that's the reason why they're on record too. And those games will probably get dropped at like 1 o'clock, 12 or 1, depending when I crawl out of bed. Because I always work Thursday night, I'm not in bed till about 9. So I'm willing, like I said, I'm always willing to wake up early for this league, for the benefits of this league. It's priority. But yeah, guys, I'm waiting on your opinions. The 4 games on record. When shall we release them? Do I go in there now and release them? Do I go in there later and release them? Do they go tomorrow? Like I said, this week's a little bit of a mess. I honestly think the 4 games on record need to be released before the live games. So that's going to happen next week for sure. So do I just drop these 4 links today before this game starts? And I believe the 4th game is currently processing. So if that 4th game is currently processing, then we'll clearly wait until all 4 games are clearly processed.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, I was just giving them my opinion, and that is I think the 4 games on record need to be released to the community before any live games. That's my opinion. I know 3 of the 4 games have been uploaded and processed, and I know the 4th game's probably in the middle of being processed now. So, and I believe we have to set those settings to private so guys can watch them. Or we'll have to go in there and open them up or whatever. But
All right. Well,
What do you
I
think?
have to get off here.
Well, before you
Like I
take
said,
off,
sooner the better.
So you agree with me? Even though a kickoff's going to be in about an hour, we release these 4 games before that.
Oh, I'm fine with that. And
Now,
then,
the only
guys can
good
go
and
watch
negative
them.
of that is
And then,
guys might stay on this particular game and watch it instead of jumping into the live game, which I personally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
As long as they're watching the game they're most interested in.
Right.
Well, that's what I'll do. I will wait for
But
this
yeah, like I
fourth
said,
and final game to be processed, and then I will drop all 4 links in the community page.
Yeah, I got to get off here. Unfortunately, I got to get ready to start supper, and Dwayne's throwing up. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yippee. Oh, yeah. It's great.
I'm wrapping this up anyway because I got to go out the door in 10 minutes to go get the kids at the bus. Then I'm going to come back, figure out what's for dinner, and then 4:30. Like I said, 4:30 we will go live, and it'll be Detroit at Chicago. And hopefully I don't have any issues on my end today. I shouldn't, as far as a lag, because we figured out what the issues were.
Okay.
But until I run it, I'm scared to death. So, all right, 4:30.
Alrighty.
All right, I'll let you go, and I'll repeat this so guys know.
All right. I'm out of here. Later.
All right. Later. All right. And thanks to Ed for being on here as usual. All right. We're waiting for the fourth and final game to process. I'll release the links to all 4 of those games as soon as I can. 4:30, the Detroit Hawks at the Chicago Assassins will go live. At 8:30, barring any issues, Arizona at Tokyo will go live. Tomorrow at noon, Green Bay at Winnipeg will go live. And tomorrow at 4, again, barring any issues, Denver at San Diego will go live. And for those of you still under a rock and not listening to the whole podcast, barring any issues, meaning my laptop's not fully charged, because I got to make sure I get that squared away. I'm still going to try and get myself a good extension cord. Sooner than later, I'm hoping to have it before the end of the weekend to make sure the charge is good. My fear is I waste money on the cord, and it's not the extension cord, it's actually the charger cord. That would suck. So, just things are finicky. So, sorry for the dead air. But yeah, pay attention to Slack because I'll be dropping those links on Slack as soon as I get the heads up from Mr. Davis, who was our recorder, letting me know what's going on. And then we'll get that going. Okay, I'm going to go into the game chat, let everybody know what's going on. Okay. I'm going to post that on Slack here in just a moment about the 4 Atlantic games next week. What it's going to be. You guys should be knowing that. David said it's up to me when I release them. Okay. Yeah, I want to release all 4 games before the 4:30 kickoff. That's what I want to do. Guys can watch the game they want. Like I said, I don't give a shit when you watch the game live. Just to give you a heads up, Chris, I am only seeing 3 games currently uploaded. I'm not seeing the 4th one just yet on my end. So once I see that 4th one, I'll be able to release this. Okay. Okay, 4th game still processing. That's what I figured. Okay, I'm posting this right now in the game chat so guys know what the situation is. Whoa. Totally misspelled channel. How the hell? That's a fail. All right, that channel. You guys know. All right, there we go. So it now says in the game chat at channel, so everybody gets the heads up. All 4 Atlantic games will be released shortly on tape delay. The live game schedule is as follows. Note, typing this up right now so you guys know what I'm writing. Note, no discussion on Slack about recorded games until the Arizona Tokyo game is completed. Failure to do so, I'm being serious, guys, will result in your Slack account being suspended for 72 hours. And that's how we're going to do this. This will be the league situation all season. Any second failure will result in a 30-day ban from Slack. A third offense will result in permanent banning. How about that? Which definitely something I don't want to do, because banning is for pussies. Yeah. Okay. There we go, gentlemen. To make sure guys know that is what I'm doing. Paste that down there. There we go. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. That's where we're at. All right. Davis has got to take off. Appreciate him for being here, being around. So I'll be checking to make sure when that 4th and final game. Yeah, definitely being released now. I see Davis's comment in YouTube. They're definitely being released now. Just want to wait for all 4 games to be completely uploaded before I release anything. So in about 50 minutes, we will have a live kickoff. So watch those games on your time, but people can watch them whenever they want. I don't care if you watch the live game. I don't care if you watch the recorded game. I don't care if you have more than one game at a time. Do whatever it is you want to do to enjoy this league. I have no demands of be at a live game. You have a life. You have a preference. You do as you please as grown men. But all I ask you is do not discuss recorded games until after all live games are over today. That's all I ask. Then you can get in there and have your conversations. So, all right, gentlemen, I'm wrapping this one up. I got to go get my kids at the bus stop. Appreciate you for being here. Season 1 starts shortly. So buckle up and look for the links to be dropped as soon as I get them all processed. 4:30 kick today. Denver, tomorrow is the light game, just so you guys forgot. So, yeah, Denver, San Diego, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Green Bay, Winnipeg, 12 o'clock tomorrow. Today is Detroit at Chicago at 4:30. Arizona, Tokyo, game of the week tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Ed Ritter, for everybody who's in the chat, appreciate it. This is Doug Bose. I'll catch your ass down the road. Later.